sometimes the bigger problem is our collective memory as a public, because we remember things in the moment. So for example, I think if you asked a few people today how many people died in the car crash that killed Diana and Dodi, they would say 2. No, there were 3. Because that third person got no coverage whatsoever in the newspapers as being a victim, the driver, Henri Paul. And what we feel very adamant about is that, this is one of the reasons why our show stops in 2005, you need to allow the true story of those moments in the history to emerge so that it's not actually on the ground reporting, right? If we were still doing it in 2023, we would only have today's newspapers or interviews to help us shape the story. But the Diana crash is such a good example of this. Most of the information for that did not come out until 2008 when Operation Paget was published. So all of a sudden you could build that entire last summer through very credible testimony of close friends, of the bodyguards, of the members of the Ritz staff who went on Dodi's behalf and with Dodi to buy the ring that we feature and so on. We needed those 10 years of investigations to take us through to get to the actual fundamental material with which to build our story. If we had stopped in 1997 and only used resources from then, pretty much what you're stuck with is just emotional responses to a moment in history, because that's all we had at the time, was the grief and the reporting on the grief and the sadness. But nobody had quite figured out truly what had happened yet, what Diana was feeling about Dodi at the time. They hadn't gone on the record yet. So I think sometimes collective memory can be a harder thing to deal with when it comes to the monarchy, given that they don't often do interviews themselves. So we're getting most of our information from newspapers, from Vox Pop, from the public at large, but that is not how you attempt to piece together history.